Today we're going to be talking about distributing and the opposite of distributing, which would be factoring. So starting from the beginning, use the distributive property to write each of these quadratic expressions in equivalent form as the product of two linear factors. So when you see these directions, the word factors means look for a greatest common factor and take that out of the original expression. So for part A, 7x squared minus 11x. 7 and 11 have no numbers in common, but I do see that they both have the letter x in them. So I'll take out a factor of x and then fill in what the distributing would have been before x got distributed. So x times 7x would create 7x squared, and x times minus 11 would get back to 11x. This is the factored form, because it shows the multiplication of two pieces. Let's try part B. 12x and 4x squared. Both terms have an x in them, as well as both terms also have a greatest common factor of 4. So if I take out a 4x to finish the factoring, 4x times 3 would get back to the original 12x, and 4x times 1x would get back to the 4x squared. And this is the factored form. Sometimes we might need to complete a few more steps before our factoring. So on the next problem, we'll first distribute, combine like terms, and at the end then try to make a more simplified factored form. So starting with distributing, we'd have 30x squared minus 40x, and 4 times 2, 8x minus 4x times 3x would be 12x squared. This is distributed. It's a step towards simplifying. Now I can combine the like terms. 30x squareds minus 12x squareds would leave you with remaining 18x squared. And then negative 40x and positive 8x would leave you with negative 32x. This is the most simplified version, and I can finish the problem by then doing the factored form, or the product of two factors. 18x and 32x have a greatest common factor of 2. They can't both be divided by 8. They can't both be divided by 4 or 9. So I'll take out a factor of 2x, and then remaining 2x times 9x would make 18x squared, and 2x times minus 16 will make 32. So now we have our completed factored form and our most simplified form. For our last type of problems today, we'll be doing a more complicated version of the distributive property. Notice that everything in the first group of parentheses must also have to be distributed or multiplied by the second part of the parentheses. This abbreviation some teachers call FOIL. And I'll tell you why in a moment. I'll start with the x from the first parentheses, and that has to get multiplied by both pieces of the second parentheses. So x times x would create x squared. X times 6 would be positive 6x. Then we also need to take the positive 5 from the first group of parentheses and multiply that by the second parentheses. 5 times x plus 5x, and 5 times 6 plus 30. The reason that this is called FOIL is because we multiply in 4 pieces. Each of the pieces has a special quality. So starting with x and x, those are the first terms. That's for the f. And then O for outsides, the x on the outside and the 6 on the outside. Then the I for insides, 5 times x. And the L for lasts. The 5 and the 6 are the last part of the parentheses. If FOIL helps you remember what to do, that's great, but otherwise just think about distributing. Last part, we need to combine the like terms. So we'll end up with x squared plus 11x plus 30 as our final answer. I will show you one more, and then you can begin the homework. I will do part B. So first, x times x squared, and then keep distributing the x times the outside would be plus 9x. Then go to the second portion, the negative 3, the inside's multiplied, and then the last. So negative 3x, and negative 3 times 9 would be minus 27. And combine the like terms, x squared plus 6x minus 27. This is the distributed and simplified version. Your homework for the night is the CYU on page 498 and on page 499, numbers 5 through 7 and 22 through 24.